Yes. So what we had discussed the other day about the chapter Albert Einstein at school was that Einstein was not happy at school and he was not happy at home. What was the problem that he had with his home? What was the problem that he had with the place that he lived? That there was a lot of violence, right? He lived in the slum area, and because his father could not afford to, help make him stay in one of the better off places. So because of financial problems, he was there. And yes, so the home that he lived in, the landlady was very violent. She would beat her children. There was a lot of noise. There was a lot of slum violence also. And on the weekends, her husband, he would come back home drunk and he would beat her. So there's domestic violence, right? So Einstein was not happy because of that. So even at home, he's not happy. Even at school, he's not happy, right? At school, because he always was a problem for the teachers. He was always asking questions. Maybe he was not getting the answers. And he did not think that learning of dates or learning of facts was an education. He was not satisfied with the way things were taught at school. Okay, so let's continue with the chapter. Yes, all of you look at your books now. Going back to his lodgings did not cheer him up. His father had so little money to spare that Albert had found a room in one of the poorest quarters of Munich. He did not mind the bad food and lack of comfort, or even the dirt and squalor, but he hated the atmosphere of slum violence. His landlady beat her children regularly, and every Saturday her husband came home and beat her. Right? Next page we're doing. Turn the page, please. Now here is poverty and squalor. Squalor is what? That poverty. So he was living in a very unhygienic, he was not living in a very nice area. He didn't mind that. But what he did not know that he like was that he was not very comfortable in that place. Right? So he was not comfortable with the surroundings or the environment. There was a lot of violence over there. The people there, a lot of slum violence. So even the house that he lived in. What are lodgings? Lodgings are his. Lodgings is a place where he lived. Okay. Squalor is poverty. And yes, what was the problem which he faced over here? That was the problem of violence. He was able to manage that fine. He did not have a comfortable room or he did not get good food to eat. But what he did not like was that he was not able to get that peace of mind. Okay? But at least you have a room of your own, which is more than I can say, said Yuri when he called around in the evening. So his friend, he said, at least you have a room of your own. I have to share my room. At least you live among civilized human beings, even if they are all poor students, said Albert. So he said, at least the people you are living with are civilized. They know how to behave. They know how to conduct themselves. They are not all civilized, Yuri replied. Did you not hear that one of them was killed last week in a duel? And now, yes, so he thinks that he is, bothered by the violence, but his friend, who is Yuri? Yuri is his friend. And he's the only friend that he has over there in that place. And sometimes when you are not very comfortable with what is going on in your life, so if you have friends to talk it out, it makes things much easier. So you're able to share your problems, you're able to discuss things with them. Right or wrong? Yes. So here he's telling his friend here, and his friend said, at least you have a room of your own. And here, yes, he's sharing room, but there is a lot of violence over there. And the students, the people who are living, they are involved in a lot of violence. That there was a duel. So two people, they challenged each other to this fight, and one of them was killed. And what happens to the one who killed him? Nothing, of course. He is even proud of it. His only worry is that the authorities have told him not to fight any more duels. He's upset about this because he hasn't a single scar on his face to wear for the rest of his life as a badge of honor. So like when you see in the movies also, you see these people, like those who are there, those gangsters, they have these tattoos or they might have scars and wounds. And all these, they're very proud of telling that I got this scar in this fight, or, I hurt my leg when I took part in that. Yes, it could be a bullet wound, anything there. So here, just see those two boys who were involved in this fight. One of them died, and the other one, he's got a warning from the authorities, but he is very proud of the fact that he participated in this duel, but he is very sad that he does not have a scar on his face. What's a scar? Scar is a mark on his face. Yes, to wear for the rest of his life as a badge of honor. So should one feel proud of killing someone? But this person was very proud of it and he wanted to wear it as a badge of honor. Like you get your badges, monitor or things like that, isn't it? That means a sense of responsibility there. You've got a position or a post, but he's wearing that badge of honor. What is his badge of honor? The scar. And he doesn't have any scar to show, oh, I participated in that fight and I shot that person. Oh, exclaimed Albert, and these are students? So students behaving like that, beating each other, killing each other. Well, you'll be a student one day, said Yuri. So you'll also be like one of them, all these scholars and all who are going in for higher studies. I doubt it, said Albert glumly. I don't think I'll ever pass exams for the school diploma. He says, I don't think so. I'll go for higher studies. I won't be like these students because I doubt I'll pass my school exams only. Why is he doubting that? Because he cannot remember dates. He cannot learn the things. And if he has to pass exam, he has to remember dates and facts, right? Which he cannot do. He told his cousin Elsa the same next time she came to Munich. Normally, she lived in Berlin where her father had a business. And so he told the same to his cousin that I don't think so I'm going to pass the exam. I'm going to have a big problem. I'm sure you could learn enough to pass the exams. Albert, if you tried, she said, I know lots of boys who are much more stupid than you are who get through. They say you don't have to know anything. You don't have to understand what you're taught. Just be able to repeat it in the exams. Wear your mask, please, and look at your book. Right. Now, see, you people also do this. So with the whole year, we enjoy, and when it's 1 month before the exam, then you open your books and start studying, right? And you feel that, okay, in 1 month, I can learn everything, and I just have to just write down a few things, which will just get me passing marks. So this is the big difference here. And this is the trick that Elsa is telling Albert Einstein, and that is, imagine you're telling someone who is extraordinarily intelligent, let's say you just have to learn these few things and you just have to write them in exam and you're going to pass, right? So you don't have to understand what you're taught, just to be able to repeat it in the exams. Please underline this. We'll be discussing this later, that do you really, is this a question mark on the education system? Are we talking about the true value of the education system? There are things that need to be changed. This is what is the opinion about the exams which the students have. That's the whole trouble, said Albert. I'm no good at learning things by heart. How many of you are good at learning things by heart? Yes? What about you? How many of you can learn so many things by heart? You can learn the whole answers, you can learn the whole chapters. Can you do that? And then you think, I can rewrite that in the exam and okay, I'm going to get good marks. Learning things by heart, is that what you're supposed to do for an exam? Little bit. Some things you have to learn, Yes, other things you will do of your own understanding, isn't it? And now Albert, he has this problem. He says, no, I can't learn things by heart. I can't do that, memorization. I can't, learn things here. And that is why I have a problem in learning. I have a problem in memorizing things. Okay? Right? You don't need to be good at it. Anyone can learn like a parrot. You just don't try. And yet, I always see with you with a book under your arm, added Elsa. What is the one you're reading? So she's telling him tips, that these are the things that you can do. These are what you can do to pass the exam. What is the important thing that she has told him about passing the exams? Learn a few things. And you just have to just write them again in your exam and you will pass. Now, Albert is worried that will he pass the exam or not. A book on geology. What is geology? Geology. It is a study of rocks. That is geology, right? Okay. Geology, rocks and things. Do you learn that? Now, see, he has a book in his hand and he has a lot of desire to learn. But sadly, the things that he wants to learn are not taught in the classroom. So he's carrying a book of geology. He wants to learn about rocks and things. He wants to study about the crust of the earth. That is what geology we deal with. No, we have hardly any science at school. Then why are you studying it? Because I like it. Isn't that a good enough reason? So you don't have geology in school. Why are you carrying this book around? Elsa sighed. You're right, of course, Albert, but it won't help with your diploma. Once again, when we are learning our field of interest, it has to be things which are going to help us with our exams, right? These are the things that we generally do. Apart from books and science, his only comfort was music. And he played his violin regularly until his landlady asked him to stop. That wailing gets on my nerves, she said. There's enough noise in this house with all the kids howling. So Albert, yes, he did like to read a lot. Other thing that he liked to do was play the violin. We all know that. Albert Einstein, he liked to play the violin. So music gave him comfort. So when he was in his room, when he tried to play the violin, the landlady would come and stop him. That I don't like this wailing sound. What is wailing? Wailing is like you're crying loudly, that sad sound. So she says, it gets on my nerves. I really get very disturbed by it. Okay? Right? Albert was tempted to point out that most of the time it was she who made them howl. But he decided it was better to say nothing. So she said that already there's a lot of noise. The kids are howling. Howling means a lot of noise they're making, they're screaming and shouting here. And on top of it, you are making a lot of noise. And he wanted to tell her that is you beat the children, that is why they howl so much. So you stop the beating, there'll be silence. But he did not say anything because he was a very good-mannered person. I must get away from here, he told Yuri, after 6 months alone in Munich. It is absurd that I should go on like this. In the end, it will turn out I have been wasting my father's money and everyone's time. It will be better for all if I stop now. And then what will you do? Yuri asked. I don't know. If I go to Milan, I'm afraid my father will send me back. Unless his eyes gleamed with a sudden idea. Yuri, do you know any friendly doctors? Now, if a child is so uncomfortable doing something, if he's so uncomfortable studying, if he's so uncomfortable in a course, do you think he should continue with it just because his parents want him to? Or should he discontinue? Do you think things have changed over the period of time? Are we able to talk to our parents and tell them that I am not comfortable doing this course? I don't want to do this. Do we have that much of courage? So now, yes, I think so. Like if we are there doing some course of study, like you're doing a medical or non-medical or commerce, and you feel that I don't have the aptitude, I don't want to continue, you should be brave enough maybe to realize your aptitude, to realize your potential. But it is very rarely that we really, talk about our discomfort, right? Very few do that. And some students, they're literally forced by their parents to take up the stream to do these, subjects. Why? Because of what we want our children to do in the future. Now, Albert is in this very difficult situation. If he goes home, his father will send him back. If he stays here, he says, I know I'm going to be a disappointment. I will not be able to study. I will not be able to continue with this course. And he thinks that I am wasting my father's money, right? So it's better if I go back and I, discontinue, and because I will not be able to pass the exams. And then what will you do? Yuri asked. I don't know. If I go to Milan, I'm afraid my father will send me back unless. His eyes gleamed with a sudden idea. Yuri, do you know any friendly doctors? I know a lot of medical students and some of them are friendly, said Yuri. Doctor, no. I've never had enough money to go to the one. Why? So he's asking him, do you know any doctors? And he says, I have medical students as friends, but I don't go to the doctors because naturally I don't have money to afford a visit to one. Suppose, said Albert, that I had a nervous breakdown. Suppose a doctor would say it's bad for me to go to school and I need to get right away from it. How many of you make fake medical certificates? Yes, you do that or not? You have a problem, you've been away for a number of days and I think the only solution is let's get a medical certificate. Now what is Albert trying to do? Let me go to the doctor. I will get a certificate from the doctor that I'm not fit enough to go to the school, and so I will be able to quit my studies. I won't have to go there. And his father will also not be disappointed. Yes, that my child has a medical problem and he cannot go to school. I can't imagine a doctor saying that, said Yuri. I must try, said Albert, to find a doctor who specializes in nerves. Nerves as in what? A neurologist or maybe a psychiatrist, right? Someone dealing with the, disorders of the brain. Tell him someone that he is not comfortable over there. There are plenty of them, Yuri told him. He hesitated for a moment and then added rather reluctantly, I'll ask some of the students if they know one, if you like. Will you? Oh, thank you, Yuri. Albert's eyes were shining. Wait a moment, I haven't found one yet. Oh, but you will. And if I do, I don't know if he'll be willing to help you. He will, declared Albert. I'm going to have a real nervous breakdown to make it easier for him. He laughed merrily. I've never seen you looking less nervous, remarked Yuri. A day or two at school will soon put that right, Albert assured him. So now what is the way that Albert has found to leave school? He wants his friend Yuri to find him a doctor who will give him a certificate that this child has had a nervous breakdown and he is unfit to go to school. And so in that way, he will be, of course, maybe, solving both the problems. His father will not be unhappy and he will also be able to leave the school because he is not happy going to school. And right now, the way he's behaving, the way he's talking with his friend finds it very difficult to believe that you are heading towards a nervous breakdown. And he says, if I go to school 2 days regularly, I will definitely get a nervous breakdown. Okay, right?